welcome to my channel. To my new subscribers, I say a big welcome to you and thank you for subscribing. To my returning subscribers, thank you for always coming back. It's that time of the year again when we get to celebrate so many weddings, and in this video I will be giving you some tips, some guidelines on how to celebrate that typical Nigerian wedding on a budget without borrowing or entering into any debt. So you finally decided to take things to the next level with your partner, and you both want a wedding that would not be a burden or stressful or be a stress to you both. You want to plan that wedding without borrowing or without relying on anybody. So just sit back and watch this video, because I'll be giving you some tips and tricks on how to celebrate that grand wedding but without breaking the bank. So after getting the necessary consent that you need from your family and friends, the next thing you have to do is you and your partner, you both have to sit down and discuss. Now you are the main people in this wedding. Now you have to decide, do we want to have a traditional marriage and a white wedding together? Of course, if you are considering having a trad and your white wedding together, it will be cheaper. Or better still, do you want to have your trad first, then after some weeks or some days or some months you have your white wedding? After that, you have to choose a date. When do we want it to be? Is it in 1 month's time, in 2 months time, in 3 months time, or 4 months time? So you have to choose a date and a time frame from now till then. When do we want our wedding to be? Now, after deciding on the time frame of planning your wedding yourself, now you decide you both are going to contribute to the wedding. At least you both are going to be the main contributors to this wedding. Now, how much can we raise from now till then? If it is 2 months time, how much can we? If it is 4 months time, how much can we raise? Based on your income. And of course, you still have to be living your life, so of course it's not all your income that will go into planning the wedding, so you need to plan that very well. How much can we raise up between now till then? That will guide you, that will give you a budget to follow. Now, if you think that you can raise up to 1 million naira or 2 million naira or 500,000 within that time frame, that would give you a guide first of all, that okay, this wedding we are going to plan it around 1 million naira or lesser, or even if it will be above, yes, it will be like 1.1 million, something that would not lead us into borrowing. Now you have your budget in mind already. Okay, we are working with 1 million naira. Okay, how many guests do you think we should invite, or do you think we can cater for? Should it be 100 guests, 100 guests? Should it be 150 guests? Should it be 200 guests? So you have to decide this. Now, after having that, of course, even if you plan for 150 guests, you should make for at least 50 extra, because the mobile moya, they'll just hear and they enter. So you have to make room for at least more 50 guests, that uninvited guests that would likely come in. So you're working between 150 to 200 or 200 to 250. That's the way it should be. Now, this will guide you on choosing a hall, which is one of the most important things. Your location. If you want to use a hall, maybe in a hotel or an event center, or in your church, better still, to be cheaper, or maybe you want to use an open field. So it will guide you, the number of guests that you're expecting, your budget, the amount that you've already mapped out for the wedding will guide you on how to locate that hall or that space. So because if you are considering a capacity of 100 to 150 guests, of course you will not go and rent a hall that has a capacity of 500 guests. Of course it will be a waste of money. So the number of your guests now will guide you. Now, since you have this in mind, you've already known the hall you want according to your budget. Of course, you have to look around for the closest one and the one that is cheaper, because we are trying to save money, we are trying to avoid borrowing. So you're going to look for the hall. Try as much as possible to book this hall at least 3 months time, like 3 months ahead of it, because people are actually planning. It's not only you that is planning the wedding. Many people want to get married around that same area that you're living in. So you have to try and book the hall at least 3 to 2 months earlier pay for the whole, have your receipts in case if anything happens, at least you have an evidence that you've paid for it, to avoid clash. Now after getting your whole, the real work now starts. You have to start sourcing for vendors. First of all, your caterer and decorator. To me, I feel it will be cheaper if you get one person that bakes a cake, and also knows how to decorate, and getting different people for it. Also, you have to source for makeup artists, for stylists, for video stroke photographer, for DJ, MCs, and all those stuffs, that would spice up that day. Now, I would advise you, if you want to get these things cheaper, I would advise you to look for your trusted friends that you know that take their business seriously. Don't go and use friends or family or friends that will disappoint you on that day. To just look for those trusted ones that you know that they don't play with their business, they don't play with their job. Give it to them. Of course, they are your friends, you know them already, so you'll be able to get some discounts from them, unlike you going online looking for, because of course we are trying to save costs, right? We're trying to work within our budget, so it will be easier for you to get your friends, to contact them, that see you, please, I need your services, but I know you charge like this, but please, you have to cut. Of course they will slash. Or if you don't have any friend, maybe you're the friend of your friend. And also, if you're using that trusted friend, it will reduce the risk of embarrassment or disappointment. Like I see so many people complaining that 1 year after their wedding, they've not still gotten their photo album, and they're like, I'm like, wow. For my own wedding, we used a friend, actually, a colleague in my husband's workplace, and then the photo album came out within 1 month of our wedding. So there was no issue, because this person, you used to see this person, you can easily hold him accountable for anything. And plus, it even came at a discounted price, unlike maybe if we had gone online and searched for all these big names. You pay them, and what you get is a disappointment. So it's better for you. That's your friend that knows how to make up. Try her. You'll be surprised that she will even give you more than you expected, but at a cheaper price. Coming down to your clothes, for the men, I think sewing of the suit will be cheaper than buying of the suits, even though it will be time consuming, but we are trying to reduce money, abi? So sewing of the suit will be cheaper. For the bride, renting of a wedding gown will be cheaper than sewing your own. Of course, you want to have your own wedding gown, but we are trying to work with your budget, so you have to rent the wedding gown. At the end of the day, what are you using it to do again? So the next day you return it back. Now, for other accessories like your rings, your shoes, your watches, even for gift items, I would suggest that you go to a market that sells in wholesale. Like here in Aba, if you're planning a wedding, of course, you know that your go-to area is area. If you go there, you can get wholesale, very original and cheap rings, cheap shoes that are actually original, unlike you going to a market nearby, like close to your area, or shopping for it online. Of course, it will be more expensive. So you can source for this. If you're in Lagos, you go to trade fair, go to Idumota, go to inside Lagos, and then you get for these things at a cheaper rate, but still original stuffs. You also book an hotel, for lodging for your men and your ladies. You can also book an hotel that is nice but within your budget. Of course, if you look around, you don't just go to 1 or 2 places and you decide that, okay, this is the cheapest. Of course, you're working on a budget. This is the work that your wedding planner is supposed to do, but you decided to plan the wedding by yourself, and so you have to work out for it. That's why you need to give a space of like 2 to 3 months for you to be able to do all this thing, so you will not look stressed out on the wedding day. So you have to go and look for a cheap hotel, but one that is at least presentable, that will make you and your guests comfortable. Now, after that, we come to the aspect of food. The most important, RSVP, rice and stew, very plenty. So it's very important. You don't want to have a situation whereby people are complaining that I don't even chop for a wedding, so no. Now we are working on a budget. It will be cheaper for you to go to the market yourself, get those foodstuffs, and let your family and friends cook for you. Yes, you don't need a vendor or a caterer to cook for you. You will not start paying for 150 heads to 200 heads. per head is 500 naira. Then you also order for snacks, for side, for side stuffs and so it's going to be cheaper for your family and friends to help you. It's even fun. People look forward to these things, to cooking for you on your wedding day. It will also save the disappointment, because trust me, there are so many vendors now with this news that we see online everywhere about vendors stealing your meat, your drinks. They will just serve how many guests, and they will tell you that the food has finished. How come? Meanwhile, you paid for it, you can't do anything. So it will be easy for you to control your family and friends, because of course you would go to supervise them a day before, like to know how far everything is. So, or you can get a trusted person and put in charge of the food aspect, so it will be cheaper for you to bring the money, let them go and buy with 1 bag of rice or 2 bags of rice, cook everything, buy the meat, buy the stuffs and cook it. To be cheaper. People, you actually borrow cooler. It's a wedding, so it is a joyful thing. People will be willing to lend you these things. So you borrow those stuffs, and after the wedding you know that you're not owing anybody. Everybody else, in fact there will be excess food that day. And for your drinks also, to go along with the food, it will be cheaper for you to go to a depot and then get it at wholesale price. See, one secret, if you want drinks to be enough, if you don't want people to steal drinks on your wedding day, just get bottles instead of can. Of course, you're trying to save money and work on a budget, so just get the drinks in bottle instead of cans, and get them from a wholesale seller. Now also for your wine and for your juice, get cheaper products. Enter inside the market, look for cheaper products, because at least you want to have that classy wedding. You want a bottle of wine and a bottle of juice to be on each table. You can go and get cheap wines and cheap juice instead of getting the expensive one. You might only get the expensive one for those that would stay at the high table, for the dignified guests. But for other tables, just get cheap. It will make your wedding, to spice it up and so on. So that is one trick in that aspect. Also, ushers, of course, you need people to serve, you need people to coordinate and all those stuff. There are professional ushers out there, but we are trying to work on a budget. Your friends, you have colleagues, you have people, you have siblings, you have friends of friends that would volunteer to come and help you to usher at no price at all. So you can look for your friends and your families to actually help you distribute your men on this and this, so they will help you to share everything, and you've cut costs in that aspect also. If you're also planning on having a honeymoon after the wedding, also plan it in such a way that it's within your budget. It doesn't necessarily mean that you have to go to Dubai or go to another state. It's the two people that are involved that matters. The main thing is for you to bond with your newly wedded spouse and also be happy. So you can go to maybe a hotel or something, but let it just be within your budget. Also very important, to avoid borrowing at the 11th hour. Make sure that as you're budgeting these things, that you bring out some money for miscellaneous or emergency. Something might just come up and you'll be like, oh, I forgot this thing, or somebody might call you that we need to settle this. So that miscellaneous money would be there to cater for those things, to avoid you borrowing. The main thing is to avoid us borrowing, because see, if you borrow for your wedding and you end up paying 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, you are sleeping. Don't forget that after the wedding, marriage itself has its own wahala that will come with so many debts. So you don't want to add before marriage debts to inside marriage debts. You understand what I'm saying? At least let the wedding parts be settled first, so that your mind will be at rest, and then any other thing that is coming up, maybe you need to buy this at home, or you need to do this as a newly wedded, and it will not be too burdensome by then. Now, just as an additional tip, if you want to source for extra money from your friends or your families, just try selling asoebi. The Yorubas do it very well. This uniform material, you go to the market, get material at wholesale price, and then sell them. Just add a little bit of profit to the price and sell them to your family and friends. That way you're not begging for money, but you're also getting extra something to be able to cater for one aspect of the wedding, so but also ensure that in your budget, as you're budgeting these things, that you strictly follow everything that has been mapped out. If you wrote 100k for this, try to make everything to still fall within that 100k, to avoid you falling short of the whole. Also ensure that you have the complete money of all the vendors. This one would avoid embarrassment. You know that okay, you've already budgeted 30k for this, and okay, you have to pay 15k as deposit in your account. Make sure that you have the remaining 15k waiting, so that after the wedding you transfer the money, or maybe a day after you transfer the money, to avoid telling the person that please next month, because that is where embarrassment will now enter. So just ensure that you have the complete money of all your vendors sitting in your account already, so even after making a deposit, the balance is waiting. Don't rely on family or friends to help you, to give you funds. See, you might be thinking that okay, they've been telling me to marry now, finally I want to marry, I'm sure they will be able to contribute. See, it will shock you that by then they are going to disappoint you. So don't even expect any penny from your family members or from your friends. Fine, if it comes, it comes, but don't put your mind so that you'll not be disappointed or start feeling bad that these people. So, and also don't rely on the money that will be sprayed on you on that day, or the money that you will make, because it might shock you that maybe if you're budgeting 1 million naira for the wedding, you might not be able to make up to 50k. It happens. So maybe if you had borrowed 1 million naira thinking that after the wedding you make up to 1.5, then you will pay, you still have change. See, it doesn't work that way. So don't rely on, let it be that any money that you make, it will be used for the honeymoon phase or after wedding life. So just don't put your mind, to avoid disappointment, embarrassment, to avoid shock. We are trying to have that wedding that would be stress-free, that would bring peace of mind, that would avoid after the wedding. Now me and my wife will start quarreling because if I collect salary, 80% of the salary now will be going to pay, we'll have to use it to pay for people that we are still owing from wedding. Now we'll start starving, because the main thing is not the wedding. Nobody collects award for which person wedding cost pass or which person wedding cheap pass. So do as your power reach, because last after that day they will forget everything. It's you and your wife that will go into the house and you will start thinking, hey, I do we know. So, and also to avoid you looking stressed out too much that day, because you're planning your wedding yourself, you can delegate some functions to your close friends and families. They will be willing to help you. So guys, this is my own suggestion, this is my contribution on how to have that Nigerian wedding on a budget without breaking the bank, without borrowing, to avoid embarrassment, to avoid insults. So I'm sure that if you follow this and add your own wisdom to it also, you'll be able to have that wedding that at the end your mind will be at peace, that now I'm through with my wedding and I'm very happy with it. So if you like this video, please subscribe to my channel and like my video also, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.